Hi, Sandy Diana, and I wanted to show you what I'm trying to work on right now. I had a request for someone that they wanted me to try to make a clear plastic mask. They did not want the one where it was a face mask that just had the cutout. They did not like all that fabric and then the square or the rectangle cut out of the center. So she asked me if I would try to come up with my mask because of the shape of my mask that I use. It's very comfortable and she loves the way it fits. So she wanted me to see if I could use my pattern. So I first went and got some lightweight plastic. I've already cut it out. I have not sewn it together in the center yet. I'm working on trying to I had purchased some elastic. It's decorative elastic that some people use it to where they make those little hair tie bracelets, and that's all it is. It's that hair tie stuff. So I've already sewn it on one side, and now I'm sewing it on the other side, and I try to give myself a little wiggle room, and then I've got to come back and I have to trim that plastic down so when I fold it, it will fold up nicely and I can sew it. So I'm going to finish that right there, and then I'm going to put it in my machine. By the way, I have an industrial sewing machine, and one of the things that I learned is that I put a Teflon foot on my machine so that things easily glide underneath it. Because I know my sister came in one day and she's like, that's a fancy looking little foot right there. Because, you know, on a regular domestic machine, they don't normally have those, but I think you can buy them as an attachment. But I use a Teflon foot just to make it easy to slide, because if you've ever sewn on plastic, you will know what I'm talking about. It wants to stick underneath your foot. So far I'm just sewing with this elastic, and the teeth kind of do it. So now I'm just sewing the finishing, and I folded it over and I'm sewing it, and my machine is so quiet. By the way, I am using my most expensive tripod right now. It's a roll of masking tape. I'm telling you guys, masking tape is the best tripod ever. So, because it will get right down there. And one of the things that I wanted you to see is I wanted you to actually, and I got to remember to stop putting my hand in front of the video because I want you to actually see how I'm sewing. So I'll try to keep my hand out of it as much as possible, but anybody that knows how to sew, you know that your hand is going to get in the way because you have to use your hand. My foot pedal on the industrial thing, my knee has like a knee pedal, and it lifts up the foot of the machine. So if you're wondering, how are you lifting up that foot and you're not reaching over there and there's no flap, there is one right here, but this is like when you want to take and lift it up. And I always do this when I'm like trying to change my thread or anything like that. Somebody actually had a request to show how to thread the machine. So I think I will do that, and I will show you that real quick on this video. And I'll put that in the description. So if you need to know, it has an automatic bobbin winder, which is super cool. Anybody knows, and you know, the biggest thing is there's right there. It's got an automatic bobbin winder, and the worst thing you could ever do is run out. I've learned so many tips. This little magnet trick, I don't know if you know this. This is from Lauren Marina. Whoops, where'd my video go? Lauren Morena, she recommended putting a magnet on this because it's all metal, and I just keep my bobbins right on up there. So this one is an empty bobbin, and what I've learned is try to always keep a bobbin rolling on this thing. That way you won't run out of thread when you are, so I'm going to try to move this out of the way. So turn this back so you can see it. So I have an empty bobbin. Because I have an empty bobbin, I need to just keep it going. And so while you're sewing, this will keep running while you're sewing, and it will keep making you a bobbin. So I'm going to just leave that right there. I'm going to come back over here, but I want to show you how to thread an industrial, because it was like almost like you needed, it was like rocket science. You had to get it. So first you have this ginormous thread stand that comes with it, and I put my thread through the hole right there. And then you come over here. I'm going to try to use the back side of my hand so that I don't block your view. Then you come right here They actually made a video of this on Cut and Sew when I got my machine. So they have lots of instructional videos on how to use these machines and how to thread them. So then you have this, because it's like no domestic machine that I've ever seen threads like this. So then I'm going to go through this hole right here, this top hole, and then I'm going to go through this hole again down at the bottom. And so it kind of like loops up right there. And then you're going to put it in your tension feed. I hope this is going right where I want it to go. The tension feed. And then you pull it over that springy right there, because it's got to go there. And then you put it right there underneath there. And then grab it in this loop. It's hard for me to videotape, show you what I'm doing. Oops, I've already got that messed up. And do this at the same time. So once you get it there, then you're going to go back up here where your little feed part is, your little, I don't even know what they call that. It doesn't really matter. But you're going to put it through that. I'm going to put it through that hole. And then you're going to, whoops, I got it caught right there. Make sure you don't get it caught anywhere else. Okay, and then you're going to start working your way down. And I'm going to put the camera down so it'll work its way down. And then you're going to put it underneath that loop. And you can't see it, but there's a hole right here that you put this through. I know. Just like I had to read the directions repeatedly before and learn it. Now I just do it so fast that I don't even think about it. On the industrial machine, it has a side, your needle hole is from the side. So I really do have to put my fingers in front of the camera right now so that you can see me putting it through the hole. Of course, it'll take forever because I'm on camera. There we go. And you pull it through and it comes from the side. And then your bobbin is from right here. Your bobbin, you actually reach up underneath the machine to take the bobbin out. And your bobbin is just, it's a metal casing. So if you've never used this kind of a machine before, you might not be familiar with it. But you put the bobbin in. They use metal bobbins. You put it underneath there, and then this is your tension part right there that you have to clip it up underneath it. And then you have to turn it to where this is this direction. So when it goes in, and you hold it like this, and you reach back up underneath the machine where the hole is, and listen for the click. Ready? And it clicks in. And then you make sure your thread is clear. You shut this. I put my feed back down. And then I'm going to lift the foot, and you're probably wondering what this was. I find that if you go ahead and stitch out the thread that's underneath it, it won't bunch up underneath on your fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch it out. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm going to move this over here. And you can see my bobbin is winding, self-winding bobbin. All right, so then you come back over here and I clip this off. And that's what I use this piece of scrap fabric for, so that both threads are up here and it's sewing nicely. And I don't know if I really need to do that, but I just like to do it. It's easy, it's fast. And now I'm going to come and miter. I'm going to put right sides together. I do not have clear thread, so I'm going to end up having to use my white thread on this. And I'm noticing that my mitering is not going to be perfectly. I want it to be perfect, so I'm going to just adjust it. But I only have white thread. I do not have the clear thread. But you know, I will just tell you why I don't like the nylon filament. This is going to go on your face, and nylon filament is scratchy. Anybody ever have a tag where they've used nylon threading to sew your tag on? It will irritate you to death on your back. So I do not want that on my mask. So I'd rather you see a white line from where I do this. But I do want you to see, now I'm sewing clear to clear. And this Teflon foot, normally on a domestic machine, this would just bind up. And I do know that if you put a piece of paper on it, then you sew with the paper on it, you can rip the paper off afterward. But it will bind up on a regular sewing foot because it doesn't sew plastic very well. So here is what it looks like with the, by the way, it's really hard to turn. That's what it looks like. I don't think that's too intrusive. I don't think really, if people onlooking, they're not really going to see that. But I do that at the top and the bottom. That gives you space for your chin. It gives you space for your nose. And that way it also keeps it a little bit off of your face, and it gives you some breathing room. I won't have a pleat in this one because I cut it a little bit smaller, so hopefully it won't be necessary that you need a pleat, but you're watching me make the first prototype. I have not made this in advance, so I really don't know whether or not it will work or it will not. So now that I have it like this, you can see where the seams are, but it's not that bad, I don't think. Then I'm going to turn it to where I can poke this out. And you're probably thinking, how are you going to breathe with a piece of plastic over your face? Well, it's going to be kind of hard, but I'm going to show you what it looks like on me, and we'll see what you think. So if I put it on like this, but you know what? That's exactly what I thought would happen. It does fog up, and that's why I've really never made these, but people say, oh, no, they don't fog up all the time. Well, you know, when they're showing you on Facebook or whatever, where they're showing these plastic masks, guess what? No one's talking and no one's breathing. But did you see what just happened to me when I did that? Oh my goodness, it sucks right into your face. So I'm hoping that once I put the elastic on, but yeah, it's doing that. That's probably the reason why I've never made these, but it does fog up. And a lot of people were saying, you know, if you're a teacher, then the kids get to see your face. Fortunately, like I said, I am a virtual teacher, and I will remain virtual all year long. And hopefully next month when they do phase B, or when they get to the B, I actually get to be in line to get the vaccination, and that way I'll be protected because, you know, my autoimmune disorder of Sjogren's syndrome, I can't afford to get this virus. So now I am going to start with this right here, and I'm going to start from the inside out. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to make sure that, because I'm going to double sew this, and because this is stretchy elastic. So I'm going to start it at one end right here, and I'm going to sew it down, and I don't really need to stretch it right here. I really don't need to stretch it the other way, because if I stretch it, you know what's going to happen. If I stretch it as I go, it's going to change. It's going to make it even tighter on your face. So I'm going to sew it from right here and just kind of follow along. And try not to put it too much, because I really don't want to cut it down any further. But you do want to stay on the thing. I'm not going to open. Maybe I should open that up. I don't want to. I'm going to leave it flat. It kind of protects it a little bit. And I don't really know how it's going to feel when I wear it. We'll find out, won't we? So you're going to have to, when you stitch this, it's going to be a continuous thing. And without a measurement, I have done some mask. I've made some mask where they have the elastic, and you have to kind of judge. You have to kind of judge how much elastic you would use. Now, since this is my prototype, you want to be able to have it to where it stretches around your ear, but you don't want it too much because you don't want it to be given in. So I'm going to, this is something I learned from watching Sew Whatever videos from Lauren Moreno, is these clips. I never heard of these clips before when I was sewing. All I'd ever heard of were pens. So I love these little clips. And then also these little hair clips. Those are great. So I'm just going to clip it right there. And the reason why I want to do that is I'd like to go ahead and make a measurement from here to here. And of course I don't have a measuring tape right here next to me because I use it somewhere else. So let me go find me a measuring tape real quick. I have the rattiest measuring tapes you've ever seen in your life, but they still work. They still have measuring on them, but I want to measure from here to here. So when I do the next ear, I will have the same measurement. So this is about 6 inches, which is about the normal. I cut the elastic 7.5 when I make my regular mask. So that's about 6 inches. So I'm going to step up over here. I don't need to sew this any further, except for I need to go in reverse to make sure. And this has got a lock stitch on the machine. So it will, I only have to go back and forth and back. Unlike a regular sewing machine, you have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh, and I just realized I sewed the shiny side on, shiny side down, but it's not going to matter. It's still cute either way. It's pink. It's pink. I will probably keep this mask for myself. So let me put it on the right side, and then I'm going to attach it right here. Come back up underneath my machine, lift it up with my knee. I love this knee. I go sit over at my brother, and I keep, the whole time I'm sitting there at my brother, I'm sitting there trying to push the knee pedal, and also there's a foot pedal down here, so I sew with my foot. It's like the old-fashioned Singer sewing machine foot, but I sit there and I push and push and push and push, and guess what? It don't go anywhere, and there is no knee pad. And I'm just sitting there trying to go away with the knee pad. And it is definitely something that you get accustomed to once you get used to using this kind of machine. And you don't have to have it, but I'm going to tell you what. I was about to burn my machine up. Because like I told you in my earlier video, I've made almost 7,000 masks in the last 9 months since March. And that's a lot of mask, and that's a lot of wear and tear on a poor little domestic sewing machine. So now when I come over to this side, I'm going to stop, I'm going to back stitch right there, and then I'm going to measure my 6 inches, because, you know, there's nothing worse. I've seen people show up to pick up mask from me, and they have shown up, and their mask looks lopsided on their face. And you know why it looks lopsided on their face? Whoever sewed it didn't use the same measurement of elastic on one side of the face as the other. So it is important that you do that. So I'm going to lift up my foot and have the same measurement as it is over here. And look, one of these pieces of ribbon that I used, or elastic ribbon, is making one face mask, which is exactly what I thought it. I bought a package. It's got like 35 different colors in it. And so I bought it just for these elastic face masks. And guess what? It's proven to be, it's going to be okay. All right. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to back stitch a little bit just so I can make sure that this is secure. And I'm also going to make it to where I sew it together. I need to move this out of the way, my clip, because I'm at the right location. And I'm going to make sure that I've got all my rights on it. But, you know, like I said, I hand sew every one of my masks. I do that because I like the results. And obviously, if I've made 7,000 masks, other people like them as well. So I'm going to trim off my threads right here. And I apologize if my finger keeps getting in the way, but it really is hard. I probably should have the camera going from the other direction, but I really wanted you to see. Now I want to stitch this part right here to this part. So when I fold it over, it's one continuous piece. I want to stitch it right there. And I love, you know what I love this machine about one thing? Do you see how gentle I can make it go? I can make it go that gentle, and I can make it fly 1,000 stitches a minute at the same time. So when this sucker really gets going, it really goes fast. But I like it that I can take it one stitch at a time. And I would have loved to have had this machine when I was making all of those ruffled curtains all those years ago. Oh my gosh. I did use a commercial White machine. White is a really good brand of sewing machine. You don't hear a lot about it anymore, but White is a really good brand of sewing machine. And if somebody's looking for a used sewing machine and you want to get a White, you can trust that machine, that it's going to stand the test of time. I actually bought me a serger, and the brand was White. And it still is holding up. So now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to cut this little piece off so that it's no longer there. And I'm really not going to turn it up underneath or anything like that because I'm just not. It's going to, I could probably do that fray thing, but I think elastic melts. So now what I want to do is I want to come back over here, and I'm really not sure if I want to sew that together like that or whether I just want to leave it free. I'm going to wait until after I finish it to where I will see what it feels like on. So here is the maiden voyage. Now I want to sew it on the other side, that it's going to be the finishing side. And I'm going to finish it stitch. And that way the double-sided stitching is on the wrong side of the mask. So when you look at it, it's just going to have a single line of stitching. So bend it down a little bit so you can watch. I find it very fascinating to watch other people sew. I don't know about you, but it's very satisfying to watch other people sew. So I don't really want you to look at me while I talk and you hear my machine. I'd like for you to see the actual sewing process going in. So I want to make sure that this is folded nicely. So I'm going to work it away. I will tell you that I can make a regular face mask in 3 minutes. So I'm going to charge accordingly for materials and how long it's going to take me. I will tell you that I usually will figure out how to mass produce mask. And right now this is a prototype. So this is my first maiden voyage of making this particular style of the mask. And so I am going a little bit slower because I'm trying to make sure I dot all my I's and cross all my T's, and that it's ended up being a really nice face mask. So I'm going to stop right here because I'm not sure if I want to sew that down yet. I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to try it on again, because this obviously will be my face mask. I'm not going to give it to anybody else because I've already put it on my face. So that's the reason why I chose this hot pink as my color, because I figure if I'm going to use it, I want it to be pink. All right, so that's what it looks like so far at the top. It's starting to look just like the picture of the girl, what the girl sent me. You can buy these already made, by the way. I just don't think that she wanted to pay the price of them. I mean, I only sell my mask for $5. And because, like I said, I've learned to mass produce them, and I know that you can get them cheaper online than $5 a piece. But I'm going to tell you what, I've also ordered some of them, and you get what you pay for. And one of my biggest gripes about some of the face masks that are available is that if you've ever paid attention to somebody that's talking and it looks like their face mask is walking up and down on their face, or either it pops off of their nose all the time, that's because it's a poor design. And I wanted to make sure that my face mask did not come off of your nose while you were talking. And I did not want that look. So that's the reason why I redesigned it several different times. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to do a check to see if I want to fold this elastic. And the reason why I'm going to do a check is because if I stitch, then I have to compensate for the stitching so that it doesn't break when you stretch it. And if I leave it without stitching, I don't have to worry about that compensation. And it might even be a little bit softer on your face. So let me show you the finished look. I also, when I cut it, if you notice, it's slanted more at the top than it is at the bottom, because at the bottom it goes along your chin line, and at the top you want it below your eyes. So here is the face mask. I mean, this is what the lady wanted. And here are your ears. So I'm gonna put it on, see what happens. Let me take my glasses off. Okay, well, I'm noticing something right off. I probably needed to cut it down just a little bit more, or either I need to put my pleat in it, because that's one of the reasons why I like my pleat, is that it pulls down off your face, and it also gives you a little bit more breathing room in it. So I'm going to add the pleat now. And you know what? I am not going to stitch this down because I think it's going to be softer in the end. The only thing that I think that it needs to have done is that pleat that I like to have in it to begin with. I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put that pleat in. I like that fitted feel, but that fitted feel also affords you the extra space in your nose. So here's how I pleat it. I'm just going to simply put a stitch right here. I'm telling you, I just love this machine. Once you get used to using an industrial machine, you will never want to go back to another. Listen to that. I can just move it stitch by stitch. Trust me, you can't go this slow. The only way I ever went this slow on a domestic machine and still sewed accurately was I would have to hand crank it the whole time. So I like that feel of being able to stitch like that. So now let me match up the pleat on the other side and do the same thing in reverse. I mean, not in reverse, but you know, on the opposite side. All right, so that's now stitched. Now I'm going to try it back on with my glasses on, because that's what's really important is, do you have enough clearance for your glasses? If you're a glasses wearer, but even if you're not a glasses wearer, yeah, I did it. I like to put the pleat down. It just looks better when it's on. So I just wanted to make sure that my slant was this way. So now I decrease the size, but it gives it that little pouch in it to where you have your nose and you're going to be able to breathe a little bit better. But if you're a glasses wearer, you know how important it is to, oh, that's perfect. So when I put it on, I got plenty of stretch. Now, I don't have a small face. I mean, but I guess I do have a small face compared to some other people. But I will say I don't like the way it sucks in on my face when I breathe and I talk. You'll see that. So I don't know how well the person's going to like it, but that is the face mask that she has asked me to try to make. Wow. I'm going to have to figure out, but I'm sitting here thinking, how does it work? How does it work if you don't have this on there? So here's another mask that I have that when I use it, and it has the same design of it. And when I'm talking, I make sure I put the wire on the top. I've got the wire, and it is fairly pleated. It's pleated, but now I can breathe through it and I can talk through it, and it's nice and smooth on my face. But this one with my pattern, it's going to be hard to breathe. But actually, if it's not that, you're going to how is it going to protect you if you've got all these gaps and you can still get air underneath it and prodigal? So I did it. It was a success. I just don't know how well the person's going to like it. So, and I have to figure out how much I'm going to charge for it. So probably I'm thinking, normally I charge $10 for a custom mask. So this will probably be a $10 mask just because it takes so much more time and it's more customized than that. But it is exactly like the picture of what she sent me, and it's using my face mask design. So I don't know how they're making these and people can breathe. Anyway, there you go. I've done a couple things today. I've shown you how my industrial machine works, and I've made you a face mask using my pattern, making a clear pattern using hair ties. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or check out my face mask and other items that I do on Facebook at Sew Sandy Creates. Like my video. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Bye.